topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Churchill said, "Those who fail to learn from history are condemned to repeat it." Kevin Hallinan believes that certainly applies to business. Welcome to Winning Business Radio, here at W4CY Radio. That's W4CY.com. And now, your host, Kevin Hallinan.
Thanks, everybody, for joining in again today. I am Kevin Hallinan, and welcome back to Winning Business TV and Radio on W4CY.com, streaming live on Talk4TV.com, and we're on Facebook, and that's at Winning Business Radio. We're live there, and we're live on YouTube. And, of course, we're on every platform imaginable after the show in podcast. That's YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, et cetera, et cetera. The mission of Winning Business Radio and TV, as regular listeners and viewers know, is to offer insights and advice to help people avoid the mistakes of others, to learn best practices, the how-tos, the what-tos, the what-not-tos, to be challenged and hopefully to be inspired by the successes of others, those consultants, coaches, advisors, authors, founders and owners and entrepreneurs, people with expertise. But, you know, as I say every week, virtually every successful person I've ever talked to has had some form of failure in their lives and careers. So while we all have to get our knees skinned once in a while, I'm driven to keep those scrapes from needing major surgery. Let's endeavor to learn from history so we don't repeat it. I've spent the better part of my career equipping businesses to grow, from solopreneurs to small and medium-sized companies all the way up to the Fortune 50. I've seen some of those companies win, and to varying degrees, I've seen some fail. I've had the opportunity to rub elbows with some of the highest performing people around and with some who probably should have found other professions. In my own businesses, I've had lots of success, but some failures too. And I'd like to think I've learned a lot from those experiences. So yeah, you'll hear a little bit from me, but mostly you're going to hear from our guests, those experts, consultants, coaches, advisors, authors, founders and owners and entrepreneurs. And today, my guest is Mark Silverman, President and CEO of Mark's Moving and Storage. Here's his bio. In 1979, Mark Silverman was a student at Northeastern University in Boston, and while many college students were spending money on their social lives, he needed to spend money on school, but he first had to earn it. Students needed moving help every semester, so he decided to become a mover. The problem was he'd never been a mover, so he just purchased a small van, believe it or not, with a credit card, hoping to make a few extra dollars to pay tuition. Eventually, the business became Mark's sole focus. One man in a van became Mark's Moving and Storage. Over the years, he recognized the need for a steadfast philosophy, so he built the business around guaranteeing 100% customer satisfaction. Nearly 46 years later, Mark is still looking for opportunities to help people. He created Mark's Northeastern Furniture Foundation and collects over 12 trailer loads of lightly used and new goods each year, and works with Greater Boston nonprofits to share those treasures with local families in need. Mark also founded thestoragecompany.com, a premier resource for warehousing and transportation of medical equipment, machinery, fixtures, and high-value products. Additionally, he invested in and manages Massachusetts Portable Storage, a company that offers convenient and flexible portable storage options for short-term and long-term needs. The company has grown from a small local business to a regional leader, serving residential, commercial, and industrial customers across Massachusetts and beyond. Mark and his companies have earned the following awards, quite the list: National Multiple Sclerosis MS Shining Star Award, Green Initiative Award from the Newton Needham Chamber of Commerce, Westboro Economic Development Committee Best Sustainable Business Award, Northeastern University's Center for Family Business, winner 2014 for top honors, the Gold Quality Award from Arpin Van Lines, and the Arpin Charitable Fund Charity Contest. And Mark's a past president of the Needham Business Association for the 2006 and 07 years, and is a past president of the Massachusetts Movers Association, the 2 years of 01 to 03. He holds a bachelor's of business a BS in business administration from Northeastern. He resides in Needham with his wife, Lisa. They have 4 children, and get ready, 11 grandchildren, ages 1 through 13. Mark, welcome to Winning Business Radio.
Thank you for having me on the show.
My pleasure. What's the best part of being a granddad?
That when you're done playing with the kids, you can give them back.
Same. I've only got 2, but wow, 11. Oh,
A lot of fun.
That's incredible. Yeah,
Very blessed.
for sure. Tell us a little bit about your wife, Lisa.
My wife, Lisa, I met 42 years ago in Florida, actually. Although neither one of us lived in Florida. We happened to be there at the same time.
Funny.
We met, and not too long after that, we got married. Lisa owned a women's clothing boutique for a couple decades right here in Needham.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years ago, after COVID struck, she decided it was time to give up the store and go have some fun. So that's what she's doing.
Good for her. So tell us, I always like a little bit about a guest's background. So where did you grow up, Mark?
I grew up in Brookline.
Okay, right. Suburb of Boston, pretty close to Boston. What was it like to grow up there?
Well,
For you.
where we lived, it was an interesting area. It was a working class area of Brookline, and everybody around us, they were very hard workers. So you would go to school in the morning, and you would get home, and normally you wouldn't see your parents till, in my case, my father, till very late afternoon or early evening. But there was a great work ethic both in my home as well as my neighborhood. So learned very early that if you want to make it in life, get up early and get something accomplished.
What'd your dad do?
My dad worked as a civilian for the Air Force. He was an electrical engineer
At Hanscom, perhaps?
at Hanscom.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. What was behind your decision to go to Northeastern?
Well, now if you want to get into Northeastern, you really have to be a smart guy, much smarter than I am. Back then, it was a long time ago, and back then it was more of a commuter school. And quite frankly, I was never a great student. I've always worked. I was shining shoes when I was 9 or 10 years old.
Wow.
On the streets up and down Commonwealth Avenue, yelling "shoe shine, shoe shine,"
That's funny.
selling newspapers. At a little older than that, and always worked. Was really never that interested in school. Almost dropped out of high school, actually. And there was a fellow by the name of Meade Reynolds, still in touch with him today, a teacher at Brookline High, and said, Mark, don't drop out. Go check out this other place, this other school. And he knew what he was doing. He sent me to this school where it looked like pretty much everybody that was at that school, their next stop was going to be a prison.
Oh, man.
Yeah, a bunch of tough guys.
Yeah.
He said, why don't you just stay in school, take a course or two, don't drop out. And he was a smart man, because that's exactly what I did. And then I got into it full scale. However, that doesn't get you into a lot of good colleges. And again, more interested in working. So Northeastern was a commuter school at the time, and you pretty much could get in for the asking. But it leads into a really good story. So back then, get into Northeastern, no problem. Was there for a year or 2 or 3, and had this moving business going. And I said, I'm starting a family, and I need more money, and I'm going to drop out of Northeastern, drop out of college against everyone's wishes, but I'm going to try and build a business. So again, I'll often say I'm not the brightest guy on earth. It took me 39 years to graduate college. But when all my kids were done with school, I went right back to Northeastern because I knew it wasn't going anywhere. And I enrolled again in Northeastern. And in 2015, I received my bachelor's degree in business from the DeMoore McKim School of Business there. And the beauty of that was when I went back the second time, I actually cared about what the professor had to say. I actually cared about the lessons to be taught. As a young kid, you're more interested in working or whatever, and not necessarily what the professor has to say. So that second bout at Northeastern taught me a lot. And in fact, it was there that I met Professor Ted Clark. Professor Clark is the gentleman who sort of took me under his wing and helped me start Mark's Northeastern Furniture Foundation. So when I was getting ready to graduate, you had to write your final paper, and I talked all about this furniture foundation I'd like to start, and how I was donating furniture. And Professor Clark said, well, you know what? You can make something big out of this. It doesn't have to be just collecting a couple of pieces of furniture. You can start a nonprofit. You can really make something big out of this. And today, I'm fortunate that Ted is still on my board of directors of the nonprofit, and we collect a whole bunch of furniture for those in need. But Northeastern, all 39 years, treated me very well.
Yeah, I understand it's like 12 trailer loads a year.
So at first, we would get a piece or two of furniture that someone was disposing. They had no need for it. We would take it to the dump. And again, early on, I had a tenant in one of our warehouses, United Way of Tri-County. And they don't throw that stuff away. You can get this recycled. Someone needs this. And that was sort of the beginning, along with the help of Ted, formalizing everything. And so now, with Mark's Moving and Storage, if we're moving somebody and they have furniture they don't need, and in many cases they're downsizing, or in the case of a death or a divorce, which some people consider the same thing, this furniture now gets collected while we're moving people. We put it onto a 53-foot trailer at our warehouse, and when the trailer's full, we bring it to Household Goods in Acton, who distributes it piece by piece to those in need.
Wow.
However, we found that there were people that wanted to contribute furniture, but we weren't moving them. Maybe they just were getting a new bedroom set, or they were getting a new mattress, whatever it may be. And it's very expensive. Labor is very expensive. So to go get a piece of furniture from somebody when you don't have a truck already there, it's cost prohibitive. So we started another company. It's called remarkabledonations.org. So this is for people we're not moving. They can go to remarkabledonations.org. They go on the site, and for a very nominal fee, way less than anybody charges for moving, they can pay to have us pick up the pieces. So that increases the quantity of goods we're able to keep out of landfills and get into the hands of those in need. And then we top it off, just for good measure, by raising a minimum of $25,000 each year. And we go out and we buy a trail load of brand new mattresses.
Yeah,
I number one item that they need. And we donate those as well. So we're very fortunate. I've been very fortunate, but I understand what altruism is all about. I understand what giving back is all about. And my team, people that work with me, we all do a very good job at accomplishing that.
Well, that seems evident. Why don't we do this? Let me ask you a couple more questions. Let me go back to Northeastern, to the early days. How did you find students that needed moving? I mean, were they just falling in your lap, or did you have to hustle for them, or what did that look like?
Yeah, so it wasn't just students. Maybe I need to update my bio. But
well, that was the genesis, right?
It wasn't just students. It started, I'm sure, with students, but it was really anybody. And it didn't matter what we were moving, whether it was a mattress or a couch. And there's another good lesson with this, by the way, is when I tried to be a mover at the beginning, there were a couple companies in Brookline, as it turned out, that said, hey, you can't be a mover, and you need a license. You need to do this, and you need to do that. And I'm like, I'm just trying to earn tuition money, it's spending. I just need a little money. Yeah, well, you can't be a mover without doing this, that, and the other thing. And that's the best thing anyone can ever do to you. Tell you that you can't do something.
There you go.
What that did was that gave me the incentive to prove that I could. So I found out what needed to be done, how you obtain the license, how you buy insurance, how you prove that you're fit, everything you need to do. And I can thank them, because maybe what was just going to be called a side hustle turned into a 46-year run here. So when you're challenged, it's amazing what you can do. I
love it. You're so right. So you knew you needed to grow it. When did you know it was going to take off?
Well, again, you talk about failures and successes and how you should identify them. So remember, I didn't spend a lot of time at Northeastern originally. It was more about just making money.
Right.
So at the beginning, and for many, many years, this was really just a lifestyle type business. It was just to support myself. I didn't understand about scaling. I didn't understand that you need to grow a business. to me, it was just you earn money, you pay your bills, and you do it all over again, and it all
Yep.
works.
Yep.
So the real businessman part of it probably didn't come till 10 or 15 years ago, when I believe that the people that you run with, the people that you have friendships with, the people that you hang with, the associations that you're involved with, you need to learn all the time. You need to hang out with people that are more successful than you, people that can teach you things. So I must say that I always knew growth was good. I always knew you wanted to have more trucks, more money, more businesses, but I really never had a plan till maybe, 10, 15, maybe 20 years ago, but late in my career, actually. And so I think that's an important lesson to a lot of entrepreneurs that maybe don't have a formal education, formal training. Is, it's great that everything's working, but, get a plan together and learn how to scale and do whatever's necessary to keep growing. Because if you don't keep growing, then obviously everyone around you keeps growing and you lose market share. And sooner or later, you don't have
That's right. That's right. All right. We're going to pause right there. I'll come back to that plan question right after this first commercial. We'll be back in just a minute with Mark Silverman.
You're listening to Winning Business Radio with Kevin Hallinan on W4CY Radio. That's W4CY.com. Don't go away. More helpful information is coming right up, right here on Winning Business Radio.
Have you ever dreamt of being on the radio? Well, now is your chance. Be a radio show guest on the #1 ranked internet radio station and promote you and your business for free. Yes, you heard it, free. Business advertising right here on W4CY.com. Call 561-506-4031 now to get booked on one of our shows. That's 561-506-4031. Get your free advertising now.
And now back to Winning Business Radio with Kevin Hallinan, presenting exciting topics and expert guests with one goal in mind: to help you succeed in business. Here once again is Kevin Hallinan.
We're back with Mark. Yeah, I can talk. I really can, Mark. Just give me a minute. We're back with Mark Silverman, President and CEO of Mark's Moving and Storage. So tell us what that plan started to look like, Mark.
Well, the plan, as everybody knows, the plans always, they change. And again, I think that's an important lesson. You can have a plan. There was a fellow that was involved with Staples, Tom Stenberg, he rest in peace. But I remember reading a story once about all these robotics, the system that he put in, and he spent millions and millions and millions of dollars on it. And as the story goes, it's I believe it's true, but it's a good story anyways, is that, it wasn't working out perfectly exactly how he wanted it. And instead of sticking to it because he had spent millions of dollars on it, he pivoted. He changed to do whatever was necessary to make it work. So one of the big lessons is, keep trying different things, set a goal, never quit, keep trying different things. And those things that work, keep repeating. Those things that don't work, get rid of them. Don't stick with them just because you thought it was a good idea to begin with. But within that plan of what we did and how we decide to keep or how we plan to keep scaling is, one, you want to hire winners. You want to hire people that are successful. You want to hire people that you feel you can see are have the right values, that aren't afraid of hard work, and understand that you're going to miss a dinner with your girlfriend, your wife, or your husband, or whatever, that understand that you might have to work on a Sunday, that, this isn't just, a convenient job. And that actually is I don't want to get off track, but that's actually, I find a problem nowadays, is that people actually believe that there's such thing as a work balance, a work home balance. And there isn't. You're always going to be stronger at one time at home or at work. And it's very difficult to find that balance. You have to be willing to make sacrifices. Anyway, so you find people that are willing to do that, people that are willing to work hard, people that are nice people, and very important, people that want to have fun. As they say, if you find something that's fun, if you find something that you're passionate about, then you never work another day in your life. I don't get up in the morning and go, oh, I'm going to work. I might say I'm going to the warehouse. I'm going to see a client, or I'm going to go make a presentation. But I don't think anyone's heard me ever say I'm going to work, because I don't really consider it work. I have to keep it fun. And as part of scaling, I change my role. I've changed my role dramatically at work to focus on storage, because now I find commercial storage, warehousing, I find that fun. So I spend a lot of my time doing that. And other people that want to deal with office work or industrial work or households that find that fun, they do that work. So you put people in roles where they enjoy it. If they can't smile and if they can't have a good laugh, then it's probably not going to work out that well. And then obviously, need to make sure that you're giving back to the community, and also asking your clients, what do you need? What maybe am I not offering currently that you wish I did? So then we got into things like long distance moving, international moving, storage, senior relocations. So we're very good at having a nose for what people need. And then, and I tell people that work for me, look, if people need their driveway shoveled so you can safely carry up the furniture, maybe they didn't hire us to shovel the driveway, but you don't, fold your hands and say, I can't do that. You go find a shovel and you do whatever's necessary to make sure that client's 100% satisfied.
Well, I wanted to ask that question too. How do you, and that was a good answer, but I want you to expand on it. How do you guarantee, or how do you keep that mission of 100% customer satisfaction going? That's difficult.
Well, it is difficult, but there are several ways. First of all, early on, someone wanted to have me move them, give me business. I'll take it. Great. What do you want me to do? And then I do it. And one of the benefits you have, the luxuries you have, the longer you're in business, you can start to be a little bit particular about who you do business with. So we develop an ideal client profile. Who do we want to do business with? Because it's not always a good fit. Just because somebody's moving doesn't mean that we're the best mover for them. Maybe we may not be, depending on what their needs are. So what we do is we make sure that we're doing business also with nice people. For example, if we're talking to somebody and they say, I've moved 11 times and every single move has been a disaster. Well, I can guarantee you that if I move them that 12th time, it's going to be a disaster also. However, if we're dealing with people that you say, hey, how are you today? Beautiful day out. It's sunny. And I've moved a bunch of times and I've always been very fortunate. I've had good moves. Chances are pretty good when I move them, they're going to have a good move also. So we have to actually vet our clients, our prospects, just like they vet us. Now, as far as how do we make sure they're 100% satisfied, there's a human element involved. We can't guarantee them satisfaction. What we can guarantee them is that we'll set up a plan that will increase the probability that they're going to have a perfect move.
And solve problems and fix errors or whatever, right?
Well, we try and anticipate what could possibly happen and then have a plan to avoid that from happening. However, what we do, and this is oftentimes what some clients don't understand, when you purchase a service like a move, you're not always hiring a company just to move them from point A to point B. You're hiring them to be prepared to accommodate any need that might be unexpected.
Yeah.
Their closing gets delayed a day or two. Things need to stay on a truck. They thought they'd get packing done, but they didn't. They thought a piece fit through a window or went down the stairs, but now it has to come through a window. Whatever it may be, you need to be prepared to do things that maybe the customer doesn't even realize they need. Going back to how did we make sure they're 100% satisfied? So I was in Florida. I have a home in Florida that I don't get to very often, but it's there if I need it. And we were having furniture delivered. And before the driver could leave, and he's making 20, 30 deliveries a day, he had to make sure that every client spoke to his management and signed off verbally that they were 100% satisfied. I came back from that delivery and I said, hey, team, we have a new policy. Before the movers leave, I don't care if it's a one-piece delivery, if they've been there for 3 days, that client needs to speak to the project manager. And we need to hear from them that they're 100% satisfied.
That's
because
beautiful.
If they're not, I want to fix it. And most of the time they are. We're not perfect. We mess up every now and then. But if we mess up, we want to know about it and we want to fix it. So one, we try and have a plan where there aren't problems. But two is we want to know about them immediately so that we can rectify them. Now, I think somewhere along the line, I heard, you talked about successes and failures. And,
right.
And so I've been lucky. I've been blessed. I've had a lot of successes, but I've had some failures as well. And I actually think that failures are some of the best things that can happen to people.
You bet. I agree.
You learn from your failures. So early on in my career, I just thought it would all work out, and it wasn't working out. And I didn't have enough money to pay my bills. And I was getting notices that my house was going to get foreclosed on.
Ooh.
And I'm watching a truck getting hooked out of the parking lot. They're trying to repossess a truck. Very early in my career. Best thing that ever could have happened. Because then I really learned how to read a profit and loss statement. Then I really learned a little bit more about money. It wasn't just as simple as going out and doing it. So you talk about failures and what you learn. Well, I learned to study my profit and loss statement like in my sleep. I learned to pay attention to numbers, to have more controls in place. Another failure that I have, and I haven't cured this one yet, by the way, is I like to hire nice people. I like to hire people that are friendly, enjoyable, have a smile on their face. And I always thought that you could teach anybody anything. And I still have trouble today not accepting that you can't teach certain people certain things. They just don't have the skill set. They don't have the competencies. You can't. And that's something that I think people have to keep in mind. And it was a good friend of mine, Rich Pilch, actually, that taught me that one, that said, you can't always teach people to do something. It may be they don't want to learn, or it may be that they're not capable of learning. So I've actually hired some people that were really nice people. And I'd keep paying them and paying them and paying them. And then finally, I'd have to have a heart-to-heart and say, I really like you, but you can't cut it. So you can't get too emotionally involved. It's another problem in business. Smaller businesses is, again, and I to this day sometimes struggle with this, is because you get emotionally involved with your employees in smaller businesses.
That's right.
You get to know their families, their kids, maybe their grandkids, their siblings. And then you start sometimes to make decisions based on emotions, not business. And even in a small business, you want to be a nice guy. You want to be always fair. You want to give people the benefit of the doubt. But even in small business, sometimes you have to make decisions based on business, not on emotions. And that's a tough one. And I don't think there's any entrepreneur, any businessman that would challenge me on that. It's prevalent in every business.
You're so right. Yeah, I want to ask you about a couple of the other businesses. Let's see. I'm just going through okay. So in 2011, you started the portable storage, or you invested in and now manage that. Tell us about that business. It's like, if you don't mind me saying, it's like pods or
so I'm a real transparent guy. Okay. I can't stand the portable storage business. I really don't even like it. We still do it because we have clients that want it.
Yep.
Or need it. Very inexpensive, low-end type of service. And if a bank or a school or somebody needs these portable storage containers on site, that's all great. We deliver them. We leave them there. They work out beautifully. We take them back. But nowadays, there's a whole business of people using portable storage units to move. And so you drop these units off. I don't do this part. You drop units off. People fill them. They don't use furniture pads. They don't know how to put anything in there. Truck comes by, throws it on a trailer, delivers it at the destination. Someone else unloads it. So you have different people loading, different people unloading. It's not really packed properly. It's the way of the world. There are a lot of very successful companies out there doing that. A lot of the van lines are shipping smaller shipments in a similar fashion. And with proper handling, with proper care, it all works out. But again, we talked about ideal client profile. Those portable storage units, we have them. We can get them to you. Not terribly interested in that. I would rather take someone's goods, pad them beautifully, like a birthday present, have them all protected nicely, take them into a heated, secure warehouse with all kinds of people around and security, rather than leaving a container in the street. We have it, and we have it because our clients demand it sometimes.
All right, last question before the second commercial. Who's on your team? What's the size of your team? What kind of roles?
So, the team actually has reduced in size because what we've found is that there are a lot of good opportunities to have subs, have contractual relationships with others. So as far as the team, The two people that should be mentioned for sure is a fellow by the name of George Jacobs. George Jacobs is the vice president of the company. George has been with me almost since day one. I needed to rent a U-Haul truck, and this is 1979, probably 1980. And I went to the U-Haul dealership and I said, hey, by the way, not only do I need a truck, I need somebody to help me. This is in the days when I was physically moving the items myself. And the fellow Johnny Pellegrini at the U-Haul dealer said, hey, call my buddy George Jacobs. He'll give you some help. And George helped me, and George has been a part of the team and a very important part of the team pretty much since day one. And then as time has gone on, people have come and gone. There's a fellow that's been with me now for 5 or 6 years named Richard Mullen. Richard Mullen is, we'll call him the operations manager. And he's a guy that, exemplifies, what it takes to make it. Here's somebody that he's committed. He has a certain role, but yet he's not looking at his job description. It's, what needs to be done. And let's get it done. Let's keep our customers happy. Let's keep our team happy, which includes some drivers and helpers that have been with me for a long time. But we're probably we're definitely reducing the size of the workforce, not the sales volume, but the size of actual employees. But the vetting process, whether it's drug testing, alcohol testing, background checks, prior work experience, the vetting process is very thorough. And that's actually part of the reason also that I think my workforce has decreased a bit because, again, things change. 40 years ago, if somebody was breathing and they were willing to work, they could work. It's not like that anymore. You really thoroughly investigate all of the workers in many different ways because you're sending them into people's homes and businesses. You have to make sure they're the kind of people you'd want to work in your own home. And in that regard, the people that do work for us, they're a great team. They're a great group.
All right. We're going to take our second break right here. We'll be back in about another minute with Mark Silverman.
You're listening to Winning Business Radio with Kevin Hallinan on W4CY Radio. That's W4CY.com. Don't go away. More helpful information is coming right up, right here on Winning Business Radio.
The YP.com website is your local search engine. If you're looking for a good restaurant, it can help you find the right one nearby with ratings and reviews. Or if your car breaks down, you can use the YP app to find the closest repair shop. Or maybe you're just looking for something to do on a Friday night. Well, it has great local coupons for all sorts of things in your area. No matter what, when, or where, if you're looking for something, YP Local Search can help you find it. So go to YP.com or download the app to search local, find local, and save local.
And now back to Winning Business Radio with Kevin Hallinan, presenting exciting topics and expert guests with one goal in mind, to help you succeed in business. Here once again is Kevin Hallinan.
We're back with Mark Silverman, and he is the president and CEO of Mark's Moving and Storage. Tell us about the storage company, which you started a few years ago. More commercial, right?
Yes. So, we found, again, I started as a mover. Then we determined that people needed storage. So we would rent or lease space, and then we would rent it to our customers. And then as time went on, I would purchase real estate, purchase commercial warehouses. So the storage company is really a marketing tool. It's the storage division, call it, of Mark's Moving and Storage. And we really focus. We target on for commercial storage. We store tons of household goods for people. We're fully equipped to do it. But what we've found is that there are a lot of businesses in the area that need commercial storage. And whether they need it for a week, a year, 2 years, 10 years.
Or records, right?
All different things. It can be surplus equipment. It can be, it can also be record storage. It can be product, you name it. We've provided storage space. It was to a marketing company at one time. And what they were doing is they were building prototypes for lobbies for one of the hotel chains.
Oh, yeah.
So they were building prototypes out of styrofoam, and they needed warehouse space to build these prototypes. So we were renting space. It wasn't technically storage, but it was floor space. It was commercial space. My point being is I consider myself an entrepreneur more than a mover, more than the storage guy.
Right.
I see opportunity, and I try and provide solutions to the people that have those needs. So the storage company is just the division of Mark's Moving. I also believe, by the way, I don't know how much time we have left, but I believe if I'm standing, I should always be branding. So as you'll see, even on my tie, I have it all. I have the Mark's Moving in storage. I have the storagecompany.com, remarkable donations. I have it all. And again, I think part of this show is trying to share, what works. And
sure.
I think that, always branding, always telling people, what you can do, what you do.
If you're standing, you should be branding. Is that what you said?
Standing, you're branding.
I like it.
So another thing that I think is real important, and just cut me short if I'm getting off track
Sure.
here.
You're good.
But, what I found over the years is, the more you give, the more you get back.
Agreed.
And, in Judaism, I'll probably get the word wrong, but I believe it's called tzedakah. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but basically it means charity, to give, and it's, I think, and I send this message to all entrepreneurs and all business people, is make sure you're giving back. And you may say, well, I can't really afford to give to charity, or I can't afford to help that person, but I'm very certain that the more you give, the more you help people, the more that comes back to you.
That's
and
a fact.
I really think that that's an important part of business, and it's a message. You say, what do you want to be known for? Well, I'll never be the biggest mover. I'll never be the richest guy, but I try and help as many people as I can. And I think people in business have an obligation, even if you're not in business, you have an obligation to help others. And I think that some people in some businesses actually fall short in that area. And it doesn't have to be with just money. You can volunteer, at a homeless shelter. There's all sorts of things you can do. They don't all require money. But I think giving back, you talk about the business plan, make sure there's a line item for whether it's time or money to give back. I think it's our obligation, and people need to do that.
And you have two foundations. You have Furniture Foundation, and you have Remarkable Donations. Tell us about Remarkable Donations.
So again, we have one nonprofit that's called Mark's Northeastern Furniture Foundation.
Okay.
To help get more donations, we started remarkabledonations.org. It's because there are people that want to donate things, but it's not. It may cost $400 to go pick something up.
Okay. Yep.
That is only worth $400. So what we've tried to do is set up a very economical way for people to donate items. And so there's either no charge or very little charge when we have a truck at someone's house when we're moving them, because we're already there. But if we have to deploy a truck to go make pickups, then there are too many expenses involved. It's just, and so to avoid those things going into the dump to be thrown away, we've created remarkabledonations.org, which allows us to basically have a division that works at, call it a break even, to go collect those things.
So you have a certain criteria of the items that are donated. You don't want, I'll just put it this way, you don't want junk. You want things that people will be able to use for a number of years. So there's some criteria. But even though you want it to be a certain quality, a lot of people are still going to just get rid of them if they don't donate.
Well, one of the organizations, Welcome Home in Newton and Household Goods in Acton, those are the two big ones. We're the official mover for both of those organizations, as well as the official mover for the Westboro Food Pantry. But it's you want to sort of donate with dignity. You want to make sure that what you're donating is something that you would use. And it is, again, most people are really good. Most people get it. Most people want to donate things that aren't torn and stained and ruined. there are some instances where people think, oh, I can get rid of my trash by saying I want to donate it. And we have to be very careful, not to accept that. We can do disposal missions if we have to. There are fees for that.
Mm-hmm.
We do that service, by the way, is, clean outs.
Oh, yeah.
But the items that get donated, they should be items that when somebody receives them, they're proud to get them. They're happy to use them. And if they go to, if someone's interested and they go to remarkabledonations.org, there's actually something that says it's household goods rules, what they accept. But common sense really prevails. We're not pretending to remove things. People shouldn't pretend that they have donations if it's trash.
Yeah.
You say, can you help me get rid of trash? If they have donations, then we'll gladly accept them. We need them.
What's the process for someone to request furniture or home goods?
That needs the goods?
Yes.
So again, we know how to collect the goods. We know how to get them to either Household Goods in Acton or Welcome Home in Newton. They should contact those organizations.
Okay, good.
Or if they're dealing with a caseworker, if they have somebody helping them, they should do it that way. We don't have the infrastructure to actually distribute each item. So we collect it in bulk and we bring it to the organizations that deal directly with those in need.
Oh, that's great. What are you most proud of at this point in your career? I know that's a big question. Take your time.
Yeah, well, I know the answer. So I think I'm very proud that I've been blessed to have a wonderful family and have wonderful employees that have been part of my life for such a long period of time. I'm blessed that I'm in a position where I can give back and I can help others. And again, I'll never be the richest man. I'll never be the biggest mover, but hopefully I've changed people's lives by being able to help in some way with what they needed. And so when it was ARP and Van Lines gave us the humanitarian award a few years back, that was very meaningful to me because it recognized that what we're doing is good. Yeah. And not that I needed anyone to tell me, but it's always nice, when somebody tells you. And more recently, when the town of Westboro, award us the Sustainability Award for saving all this furniture from going to the dump and getting it to those in need. So I'd say that, what am I most proud of? I'm proud that I've been able to change people's lives, both outside of work, within the company. And I think at the end of the day, isn't that really what it's all about?
Yeah,
trying to leave the world a better place.
For sure.
When you got here. So if I can do my small amount of my small share of that, then I've accomplished a lot.
That's great. Hey, somewhere I saw the statement, Mark Silverman practices enlightened self-interest every day. What does that mean?
Well, that's a good one. Well, I guess what it means is that if you basically, my interpretation is, and I didn't say that, someone else said that.
Someone said it. That's correct.
But that it's okay if you help a lot of people, and in return, people recognize that and you benefit from it. And some people, I think, have a problem with that. They think that when you help others, you shouldn't have any expectations. I don't have any expectations, except that people recognize that we're trying to do the right thing and we're trying to do what's good. And what I find is that people do recognize that. And I can't tell you the number of people that have used our service that have given me business because they say, you're the kind of person I want to do business with.
Wow, that's great.
You're the kind of person that isn't just taking it all for yourself. Yeah, I take some for myself. Absolutely. I take some for myself. But I don't keep it all to myself. I give some back. And what I find is the more I give, the more I get. And it's a damn good way to live your life. And if you look at my background here, you'll see this sculpture. I love this thing.
Yeah.
And what it says self-made man. And it shows a guy chiseling himself out of rock.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Bronze. But the point here is there's all sorts of opportunity. Anybody that wants to work real hard, if they have even a tiny bit of luck, they can make it. How do you work? The luckier you get, that whole thing comes into play too.
Right.
But getting back to the question, I think it's okay. Give a lot. You'd be very surprised how many people recognize it, appreciate it, and want to do business with somebody that tries to help others. And even if we're only helping in a very small way, we're not giving millions and millions of dollars, but we are giving something back.
Yeah, that's meaningful.
That's meaningful. We make a difference.
All right, the two organizations and roles I want to ask you about as we wrap up. You were the past president for 2 years of the Needham Business Association from 06 to 07. Tell us about that organization. Give them a little shout out, and what was your role?
Yeah, so the Needham Business Association merged with, I think it's called the Charles River Business Association now. There's been a lot of merges in local business groups. But again, that was a small group where the whole purpose at that time was to help promote business in the town of Needham and just learn from one another, network, help people, make people smarter, wiser, more successful. And we did a show at the time. It was called Meet Your Needham Merchants. And what I did was I went around to different businesses in Needham, and with the local cable channel, I interviewed them. And I said, pretty much what you're saying to me. Asking me, how did you get in business? What do you like? What don't you like? What are the challenges? What are the successes? And so we did that for a couple of years, and it was a great group. Learned a lot, and I think that's important. Networking and trying to be around people that are more successful than you, that can teach you something.
And then the other is Mass Movers Association.
So the Mass Movers Association, that was a long time ago, but again, a really good group of people, that had, for the most part, the same objectives: to learn from others, and to also have different events and different to help people in need. And what I found was, I watch TikTok. People say, Mark, you watch TikTok. That's all garbage. And they're right. A lot of it is garbage. Yeah. But there's also, if you listen to the right people speaking, you can learn a lot. And what a big message I hear all the time is, never stop learning, never stop reading, never try. And again, I'm always trying to be more intelligent. I'm always trying to learn more, be a better businessman, be more knowledgeable. And I think that never ends. You always have to do that.
Agreed.
And the Mass Movers, the Needham Business Association, now we're part of Corridor 9 in
Corridor 9,
in the Westboro area, some other groups. Just associate yourself with people that you can help and they can help you, that you teach each other, you learn. Very important.
So last two questions, both easy ones. Who in the listening and viewing audiences may want to reach out to you, and why?
Well, I think that the people that right now that we can help the most are life science companies, medical manufacturers, companies that have very large operations, and they need to clean out some space so they can build more labs or create more manufacturing areas, and they need storage for their assets. And the reason they should reach out to us is because we have very flexible terms in both the amount of time they have to lease from us and the amount of space they have to take. And we offer a flexible footprint where we can expand or contract their space. So it's, again, what do you need and how can I accommodate you? We operate over 100,000 square feet of warehouse between a couple different locations I have. If people need any type of, people meaning companies, need any type of storage, there's a real good chance that I can accommodate them.
Beautiful. And the best way for them to reach out is there's marksmoving.com, and you put your cell. It's in the crawl. It's been across a couple times. I'm sure it'll come up again in a second. 508-889-0640. Feel free to call.
I'm very accessible. I mean, I get up early, I go to bed early, but I'm very accessible.
Yeah.
My cell phone, for better or worse, is by my side all the time. And if people shoot me a text, give me a phone call, they'll hear back from me very promptly. In many cases, I'll just pick up. So I'm very available to give information and help people. And I'm also most of the time able to help people. But if I can't, I probably know who can.
That's awesome. Well, listen, thank you for taking your time. I know you're busy, but thanks for being here, and we appreciate it.
Well, it's been a privilege to be on your show. Thank you. I hope I've been helpful to the audience.
You have, Mark. Thank you. And thanks, everybody, for listening and watching. This is a show about business and business challenges, successes and challenges. Now, if you've got concerns about the sales effectiveness of your company, whether your sales team is you or very small or very large, doesn't matter. You can reach out to me at kevin@winningbusinessradio.com, one of my many email addresses. Our company is Winning Incorporated. We're part of Sandler Training. We develop sales teams into high achievers and sales leaders into true coaches and mentors. Hey, we're not right for everybody, but maybe we should have a conversation. Thank you once again to producer and engineer Juan for another job well done. Thank you, Juan. Be sure to join us next week. That's Monday, June 9th. We'll do it all again. Until then, this is Kevin Hallinan.
You've been listening to Winning Business Radio with your host, Kevin Hallinan. If you missed any part of this episode, the podcast is available on Talk4 Podcasting and iHeartRadio. For more information and questions, go to winningbusinessradio.com or check us out on social media. Tune in again next week and every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time to listen live to Winning Business Radio on W4CY Radio, W4CY.com. Until then, let's succeed where others have failed and win in business with Kevin Hallinan and Winning Business Radio.